Your vision says all things are possible. Then your bank account and your credit card start laughing, and then your salary is looking at you like helpless. You are listening to Anxious for Nothing with Bimpe, where together we overcome struggles with people-pleasing and perfectionism so that we can truly value ourselves and create time to progress in all areas of our lives. I'll be sharing with you my personal experience using agile IT systems for prioritization, especially when family, work, life, health, finances and our faith all collide into one. And most importantly, how to affirm our faith and identity in Christ during the storm, not just after it passes. Join me. This is time management like you've never known it before. Let's get started. Welcome. Are you new here? If so, you want to catch the last episode 4, after you've listened to this. I spill the tea on what has helped me win the war and achieve my vision. And if you are a returning listener, please do me a huge favour and comment on how this podcast has been helping you to encourage the new listeners. So in our last episode, we set up our requirements or our standards for life and attach them to a strong why, which will keep us consistent and therefore achieve our vision for 2026. By the way, what is your vision for 2026? I would love to know. Drop it in the comments. So today we are going to touch on finances. I find that finances have been the reason for some of us having to wait longer or even having our opportunities delayed as a result. However, now that you have your strong why and the reason behind wanting to achieve your vision, you can fight that temptation, you can fight that shiny object syndrome, and you'll even be able to overcome FOMO. Yes, I said it, FOMO. So do you ever find yourself in a position where you had the money for something, then you spent it on something else, and then something really important comes up and you're like, oh my gosh, why did I buy that thing? I can't even return it now. That was me. From 2018, I bought loads of courses. I bought a Facebook ad course. I've recently bought an IG course. I bought like 3 to 4 Amazon courses, and a couple of them were great. And let me be honest with you, I am not selling on Amazon right now. And one thing that has really helped me get out of this was the ability to reflect and prioritize. You can get the tool that I use in the description box and use your vision to help you prioritize how you spend your money, time, and resources and energy. So you have your vision, your dream, and like Habakkuk, you've written it down and you've declared it. Then your bank account and credit card come together to mock you. You're at war with the old version of you that made those decisions. Also, you may have found that you've not actually created time for self-development. Instead, you have been helping others, giving, and your career as a result has not grown, and your salary is now looking at you helpless. And then your kids are saying, oh, mum, I don't want to wear clothes from the supermarket. I don't want to wear clothes from Asda. I don't want to wear clothes from Tesco. And you don't have any emergency cash. Yes, I know you don't borrow money from anyone because you put it on your credit card. Yes, you are smart. Your credit card is 0%. So when the promotion ends, what you do is just move it to a new one. I mean, God forbid you should ever be in a position that you need to stop working unplanned. What would you have in place? Or maybe you want to start your vision now, but what do you have in place for it? If this is pinching you today, it is coming from a place of love, because this was exactly me not too long ago. I was at war with that old version of me that spent the money on those credit cards, that had to pay off those credit cards. But I'm here today because I've actually won that war, and I'm going to give you the strategy that I've used. I am sharing my strategy with you because I want you to win as well. However, as always, this war must first be won in our mind and with our prayers. Later on, I will share with you the exact method that I use to pray. But before then, I want to touch on affirmations and the importance of the words we speak over our lives. Then I'll move on to practical steps to make sure that we align our finances with our vision. So you set your vision for 2026. What is it? Okay, great. So I'm going to use one of the vision areas mentioned in episode 2 as an example, but you can use the same principles for whatever vision area that you've picked. So let's use the career growth vision area as an example. So you did your reflection on 2025, and after that you realize that I've been in the same position for over 3 years now, and in fact this year 2026 is going to be year 4, and your vision for 2026 is a promotion. So you set yourself a requirement. I want to become, insert the profession that you are, and increase my income so that I can insert your strong reason why that you want to increase your income. I go through how to do this in episode 004. So to give an example, this was exactly me in 2026. I wanted to be able to afford to buy a house. Right back then, I was living in a 2-bedroom council flat with my 3 growing boys. I had been in an organisation for nearly 10 years and I had not been promoted. We didn't earn enough together as a couple to buy the flat that we're living in, and I wanted my boys to have space for themselves as they grew. And I wanted to be able to afford to travel with my family and have emergency cash. Now that that vision is a reality for me, my new vision, my new why is to have additional money for investments so my money can begin to work for me. So when I stop working, there won't be an issue. So based on that vision and the requirements that we have set, you can start to speak and affirm what you want to see. Having a strong why will help you. So the words that we speak are powerful. So it's important that we speak words that do not go against what we've affirmed and what we've prayed for, especially when we're speaking casually to our friends and family and they ask us about your goal, your vision in that area. Make sure that the words that we speak do not go against that vision or what we're praying and affirming for. So there are 3 aspects here. There's your mindset, the practical step, and prayer. The mindset is to affirm, take quiet moments to picture and visualize in your mind what you want to see, and be mindful of the words that we speak over ourselves about it. So years ago, back when I was still an admin assistant, I would call myself an amazing manager. I'll speak this over myself. I would visualize it in my mind and say that, I'm a great manager, I'm managing an amazing team. And I'll still say that even though I was an admin assistant at the time and didn't have a big team. But now that vision has materialized and I'm in senior management. Okay, so that was mindset. Now let's move on to the practical steps we need to take to ensure that our finances are aligned with our vision. Still using the example of career growth, but these principles I'm going to give you can be used across all the 7 vision areas that I mentioned in episode 002. So when it comes to our finances, your career development must be amongst your top 3 priorities. This is because we need to look into training and coaching to support it. So what do I mean by this? It means that the money that you're going to put towards your career development must take priority over family trips, any home renovations that you're planning, or even expensive parties. Instead, what you can do is have a day trip instead of an expensive family trip, going abroad. You can possibly look at doing things yourself inside the house rather than starting that home renovation. And instead of an expensive party, why not look at going out for dinner instead? Because we need to channel the majority of our funds towards the career vision that is our priority right now. I found that one of the biggest mistakes I made in my early career was assuming that the organisation I worked for would develop me and promote me. So I handed all responsibility for my career growth, my promotion and my training to the team, to the organisation. But no, this is not how it works. You are the one that's solely responsible for your career growth and development. One of the hardest things I had to decide was whether my future was going to be in that organisation or not. Because I can tell you now for free that if you are going to get promoted in the organisation that you're in, you will know before it happens. If you know, you know. Let's leave it there. Okay, now that we've prioritised how we're going to spend our finances this year, the next thing we need to do is a gap analysis. This is basically looking at where you are right now and where you want to be and what is the gap. What are the things missing? And this is where we're going to use the finances that we've prioritised to fill this gap. Also, please note that sometimes you are not actually missing any skills, but rather you need to understand how to package yourself and how to work the system. And this could be the gap rather than necessarily needing to be retrained or needing to learn a skill in order to move to the next level. So in my experience, when I left my old organisation and joined the new one, almost every 18 months, I kid you not, I was getting promoted. And I realised that I already had the skills within me and I wasn't really missing any skills. It was more like I didn't know how to package or present myself or work the system. So once you've done your gap analysis, you need to set aside money from your pocket to get a mentor, a coach, or the training that you need. And then you need to create your exit plan if your future is not in your current organization. Let me say it again, just in case you missed it. Don't expect your organization to pay for your training, especially if your future is not with them. There is a saying that every professional woman or man, but every professional person needs 3 things early in their career. They need a sponsor, a mentor, and a coach. The sponsor is the person that has authority, that have influence. They're the person that's going to speak your name in important meetings. They're the person that's going to suggest your name for important positions. And they're the person that everybody in an organization has respect or authority for. Their words and presence have huge gravitas. And then a mentor, this is the person that knows the unwritten rules. They have walked the path before you. So they will tell you exactly what to do, exactly how to say things, and exactly how to make that influence. So, for example, you might be sending emails to this person. You're not getting a response. A mentor might say, have a look at how this person communicates. Maybe email is not their best communication pattern. Try messaging. Try visiting one-to-one. That's what a mentor will do. They'll give you those, ashiri, those secret unwritten rules. And a coach, well, a coach is not your friend. A coach, they are the person that is fighting for the future you. They are on the side of the future you, and they're fighting alongside the future you to make sure the best version of you comes out. So here is a general principle for ensuring that your finances are aligned to your vision. And we need to tackle these things head on. First of all, you need to know what you're spending. I did an exercise like several years ago, and I looked over all my spending over the last 3 months. So I itemized everything. And then I realized that I was spending almost 70 to 60 pounds every month on eating out at lunchtime. This is back in the day when, we had to be in the office from Monday to Friday. So when I realized that, I was like, oh my gosh, something needs to stop. Next step is to identify where you need to make cuts. So for me, in that case, I realized that I need to stop buying food from Tesco's, doing that meal deal every single day, and start packaging something from home. So I realized that the reason why I was buying those meal deals every day was because in the mornings I was just not organized. Having a strong why, knowing that I wanted to get promoted, was enough of a motivation to make sure that I stayed organized and made my food and made my packed lunch and took it into work. Then the next step is you want to use those savings that you've made from the cards that you found to pay down any high interest credit cards. You can also speak to your credit card provider if you are struggling. So if this doesn't apply to you, the whole credit card debt issue, you can skip this point. Then the next thing is that once you've got your cards or your debt in a manageable state, you want to build an emergency fund. Okay, so this emergency fund can be something like £500 to £2,000. And the reason why we need this emergency fund is to cover things like fixing your car, fixing a dishwasher, or a washing machine, small emergencies like that. Because what you want to do is you don't want to end up having to take from the money that you're meant to be using for training to pay for these small emergencies. Then once you have this, you can start putting money towards growing your career or growing that vision, whatever area that you've picked. Put that extra money into your training, your coaching, interview practicing, or getting experience on how to write an application, and just getting the training and support that you need. Then finally, once you have got that new role, you've got that promotion, you've got that additional pay, do not subscribe to lifestyle inflation. Yeah, the next thing you want to do is you want to top up that emergency fund and build it out to cover 6 months worth of essential living, things like your bills, things like your rent, mortgage, and things like travel. They are essential living costs. We want to build up 6 months worth of that. Then next, consider thinking about getting life insurance or income protection. Then once you've satisfied those basics, the next thing you want to do with your finances is start looking at investing. Yep. Start looking at buying stocks and shares. We want to get to a point where the money we are making is now making money for us. And the thing is, because you've got your emergency money in place, you're not going to be scared to invest as much because you know that there's a cushion there in your cash ISA for should an emergency come up. You're not going to stop investing because the money's already there for that will cover emergencies, and this is extra money on top of that which you can use to start investing. This is surplus cash. So now that you have even more surplus cash, you can start thinking about that big vision you have in mind. What is it? Doing more community work, starting a business, or traveling? What is it that you have in mind? You can start thinking about it. So please, I hope I've not lost you. I know that was quite a bit, and all of that is coming from a place of love because I actually want the best for you. Still to come is I'm going to share with you the prayer style that I used. I get it that the situation that you're in might appear to be tough to get through. I mean, I've also been there, But remember, we need to speak what we want. Keep that vision in our mind, because through Christ, all things are possible. I want you to see that vision of you in your mind. See that person, that future you in your mind, because that future you is also fighting with you to come into existence this year. What's your vision? Do you see yourself traveling more, working on your own terms and being part of a supportive, like-minded community that truly understands you? That's been my vision. I've always loved to travel, but for the longest time, my budget didn't always stretch to my dreams. Last year, I became a home-based travel agent. Initially, because I simply wanted to travel more, but I didn't expect to discover that I could turn this into a real business, one that fits around my family life, gives me flexibility, and surrounds me with a network of incredible support. I'm so thankful to be part of an amazing community with a mentor who clearly sets out the steps and guidance for success, so you're never left figuring out things all by yourself. If you're curious and want to learn more, reach out to me on Instagram at Mrs. Ajala Travels. That's Ajala spelled Ajala Travels. And for peace of mind, you'll also be APTA and ATOR accredited, so you know that you're covered while truly building something meaningful. You may have noticed this podcast is called Anxious for Nothing with Bimpe. That title comes from Philippians 4:6. And along with the verse 2 Corinthians 5:7, which is we walk by faith and not by sight, these are my cornerstone. I mean, the reason why they're so personal to me is because I struggled with overthinking, people pleasing, perfectionism, procrastination, worrying, self-esteem, should I go on, and fear of getting things wrong. I mean, let me know if you want me to dig into any of those or unpack any of those in a later episode, I can. But now, going back to Philippians 4:6, if we extend it to verse 7, it says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgivings, make your requests known to God. And the peace that surpasses all understanding will guard and protect your hearts. And I love that so much, that for me, it just says that, yes, you're worried about this thing, but instead go to God with prayer. And as you're praying with God, pray thanking him, knowing that God has done it. And then he'll give you that peace in your heart. I will give you that understanding. And I've found that when I have peace, when I have understanding, that fear just dissipates. The situation as it appears to everyone else may not have changed, but in my heart and in my mind and in my vision, I'm seeing what I want to see. And this scripture, it shapes how I pray. So I don't pray from a place of lack. I pray from a place of thanking God like it has already happened, because it has already happened. I visualize it, therefore it has already happened. So although people can't see it, I believe it because I can see it by faith and not by sight. And when I speak, I make sure that my words are aligned to that vision. So for example, when I was an admin assistant, I would pray thanking God for making me an amazing manager. I would thank him for the wisdom that he has given me to guide my team. I would thank him for the strength I had to resolve challenges that came to me from my team. And honestly, that gave me peace. And with that peace, I found the strength to get through what at the time was a very, very difficult and frustrating season for me. Because I remember I would apply for all of these internal roles and not get them. I'd get the interview. Then after the interview, I'll be given feedback like, oh yeah, you lack experience. You need more training. I'll get the experience, go back and do this training that they were suggested, go back for the job again, and I'll still fall short. I mean, looking back now, I can see that my future was clearly not in that organization. So we have covered a lot today, so let's bring it all together. One key area that stops a lot of people from achieving their vision is the finances. And I want to say this clearly, it's not always the lack of money, but the lack of alignment between our finances and our vision. When our finances are not aligned, we miss opportunities. And then if we don't have a strong why or an anchor to our vision, then it is so easy for us to get swept up by FOMO, shiny objects and impulse buying. I can put my hand up to me that I was there. The war is first won in our minds. We have to affirm ourselves and visualize where we are going. We need to get practical. We need to align our spending habits with our vision, increase our income, and eventually we need to get to the point where our money that we worked for now begins to work for us. And finally, we need to pray thanking God, because from that moment that you can visualize it in faith, you already have it. So that was an example using career growth. You can adapt it to any of the vision areas that I mentioned in episode 002, whether it's personal, spiritual growth, contributions to the community, your business, your finances, your home, your lifestyle, or the leisure, whichever one of those areas you can adapt it to. So today and going forward, I want us to pay very, very close attention to what we're saying over ourselves. about the vision that we want for 2026. Make sure that our thoughts, our words, and our beliefs fully align to what we want. Did today's episode pinch you a little bit? If it did, please don't be upset with me. It is coming from a place of love because I want the best for you. Please share this with someone you also love or who you also want to pinch. And together, let's be each other's accountability partner this 2026. You want guilt-free time for yourself without sacrificing your peace of mind. I've been there and I get it. Visit www.anxiousfornothing.kit.com and get my free prioritization guide designed to help you create more time for what truly matters without sacrificing family, work, or your values. I want us to experience what it truly means to be anxious for nothing with more time, less pressure, and freedom from people pleasing. That's anxiousfornothing.kit.com for your free guide. Thank you for listening. I'm Bimpe. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Remember, you are anxious for nothing, and when you win, everyone wins.